Have you ever stared at your phone waiting for the salary notification to come in? Not because you're excited, but because without that money, the month simply doesn't work. It's a very specific feeling, a tension that sits quietly in your chest for days. And the worst part? Most people think this is normal, that this is just how life works. It isn't. There is a specific point where that tension disappears, where you stop living in panic mode and start living in strategy mode. And that point isn't having a lot of money. It's not paying off all your debt. It's not earning more. It's having 3 months of expenses saved. If you want to stop reacting to money and start controlling it, subscribe to the channel and leave a like if this video resonates with you. Now let's get to what really matters. First, let me ask you something. Have you ever made a financial decision you knew was wrong, but did it anyway? You took a loan with absurd interest rates, accepted a job offer below what you deserved, stayed in an apartment that was too expensive because moving felt impossible. Most people blame a lack of discipline, a lack of financial education, a lack of willpower. But here's the truth. No one tells you. It's not a character flaw. It's biology. When you don't have financial reserves, your brain literally operates in emergency mode. Neuroscientists call this cognitive scarcity, and it's exactly what it sounds like. When you have too little, your ability to make good decisions measurably declines. A study from Princeton showed that people under financial stress experience the equivalent of a 13-point drop in IQ when making decisions. Not because they're less intelligent, but because the brain is using too much energy managing fear. It's like trying to solve a complex problem while someone is screaming in your ear. And the cruel part is that the tighter money gets, the worse the decisions become. And the worse the decisions become, the tighter money gets. It's a self-reinforcing trap. But this is where things get interesting, because the way out of that trap doesn't start with more income. It starts with a cushion. When you have 3 months of expenses saved, something happens in your nervous system that simply cannot happen any other way. The immediate threat disappears, and when the immediate threat disappears, your brain stops running and starts thinking. Think about an animal that has spent its entire life searching for food. Every day is pure survival. It has no time to explore new territory, rest, or develop new skills. All its energy goes into not dying today. Now imagine that same animal with food guaranteed for 3 months. Suddenly it has time. It explores. It rests. It gets stronger. It finds food sources it never would have discovered while in panic mode. You are that animal. And 3 months of savings is that guaranteed food. The difference isn't just psychological. It's operational. You start making different decisions in every area of your life. Let's start with the most obvious one: emergencies. Before an emergency fund, every emergency is a catastrophe. The car breaks down. The refrigerator stops working. You get sick for a week. Each of these events isn't just a practical problem. It's a financial detour that can take months to fix. And what do you do when you have no choice? You use the credit card. You take a loan. You accept bad terms because you don't have time to negotiate. Have you ever noticed that the people who can least afford it end up paying the most? Credit card revolving interest rates can be extremely high. Emergency personal loans come with rates that can double the debt in months. People with money wait for the right offer. People without money accept whatever appears. That's not injustice from the universe. It's mathematics, and it's reversible. With 3 months of savings, a broken refrigerator becomes a new refrigerator, bought in cash with a discount in the model you actually chose, not the one that barely fit into a payment plan. The difference between those two realities isn't the accident. It's the reserve. But here's something most people don't consider when they think about emergency savings. The biggest impact isn't in emergencies. It's at work. When you have no savings, you're trapped. Your boss might be toxic. Your job might feel meaningless. Your company might be paying you 30% below market. And you know all of it. But you stay. Why? Because leaving feels impossible. Because next month needs to work. Because any gap in income feels like falling into an abyss. And then the most dangerous cycle begins. You stay in a bad place, you lose motivation, your performance drops, your chances of growth shrink, and you become even more stuck. Now imagine the same person with 3 months of savings in the bank. Suddenly, the conversation with the boss changes tone. You ask for the raise because, in the worst-case scenario, you have 3 months to find another job. You say no to an absurd task because the threat of being fired no longer terrifies you. You walk into interviews with a different posture because you're not desperate. And here's the funny thing. Most of the time, you never even use the savings. Just having it changes how you behave, and how you behave changes what people offer you. Money saved isn't just security, it's negotiating power. Let me tell you something that may sound counterintuitive. Having savings doesn't make you spend less, it makes you spend better. When you're under financial pressure, every purchase becomes a moral dilemma. Coffee or transportation, medicine or the electricity bill. That's not frugality, that's exhaustion. Researchers at Harvard call this tunneling. When you're in scarcity, your attention narrows so much around immediate problems that you lose sight of everything else. You don't see the promotion opportunity. You don't see the business opportunity. You don't see the partnership that could change your life. You only see the hole in front of you. With savings, the tunnel disappears. You start seeing the entire landscape. And that landscape includes opportunities you were ignoring, not because you lacked intelligence, but because you lacked mental space. That course that could double your salary, before it looked like an expense, now it looks like an investment. That business idea you've had for 2 years, before it seemed crazy, now it seems possible to test with low risk. That conversation about partnerships, freelancing, or a career change, before it got stuck in your throat. Now you can actually have it. Financial reserves are not money sleeping in the bank. They're the fuel that activates your potential. But here's where most people make a mistake. And it's a mistake that sounds smart, so pay attention. Many people hear about emergency funds and think, great, I'll save 3 months and then use it to invest in something. No. Your emergency fund is not investment capital. It's not a down payment for an apartment. It's not startup money for a business. A reserve is a reserve. Its function is specific, to guarantee that no unexpected event forces you to make a bad decision. If you use it for something else, you lose exactly what it provides: peace of mind. And as you've seen, peace of mind isn't an emotional luxury. It's the condition that makes every other good decision possible. That means your reserve stays in a safe, liquid place with some yield. Government bonds, daily liquidity bank certificates, high-yield savings accounts, not stocks, not cryptocurrency, not real estate. The goal is not maximum return. The goal is full availability the moment you need it. Now let's talk about how to get there, because this is where most people get stuck. First, you need to know your number: 3 months of real expenses, not what you think you spend, but what you actually spend. Take your last 3 months of bank statements. Add everything up: rent, groceries, transportation, healthcare, entertainment, subscriptions. Divide by 3. Multiply by 3. That's your target. For most people, that number varies widely depending on cost of living and lifestyle. It's not a fortune, but it's also not small when you're starting from zero. So how do you reach it without suffocating in the process? The rule that works is simple. Before paying anything each month, move a fixed amount into your emergency fund. Not what's left over, what you decided in advance, even if it's a small amount. What truly matters isn't the number, it's consistency. Because here's what happens when you do this for months in a row. You prove to yourself that you're capable of delaying gratification. You build a new identity. You stop being someone who tries to save money and become someone who saves money, and that identity shift changes everything. There's a specific moment in this journey that I want you to watch for. It's the moment when you look at your bank balance and see a number that represents maybe 2 weeks of survival. And instead of feeling anxiety, you feel something different: relief. Not the relief of payday, the permanent relief of knowing you are slightly less vulnerable than you were before. That feeling is the signal that your brain has started to exit emergency mode. And once you feel that once, you won't want to go back. Every dollar that goes into that reserve after that isn't a sacrifice. It's fuel for the version of you that acts from choice, not fear. Let me close with something simple but powerful. There is a version of you 18 months from now. That version has a full emergency fund. It has the calm that comes with it. It has the mental space to think differently about work, money, and what it wants to build. That version of you didn't get there by luck. It got there because the version of you today made a small decision. Not tomorrow. Not when life gets easier. Today. The first step isn't saving $20,000. It's opening the account where your emergency fund will live and moving any amount of money into it this week. Because building an emergency fund isn't just a financial goal. It's a declaration that you've chosen to leave survival mode, and everything changes after that.